Good morning and welcome again from the Hannover Messe in Hannover, obviously, and from the Beckhoff booth. We are having the third day today. Wednesday is usually the most crowded day. The booth is already filling. It's 10 a.m. in Germany. A lot of people are already here, and we are looking forward to many interesting conversations. If you want to get in touch with us within the next half an hour, please shoot us a message on meet@beckhoff.com or write something into the chat. What we would be very much interested in is if you can write us from which village in which country you are watching this live stream, because then we can send you some greetings, and it would obviously be very interesting to know from which location in Italy, for example, you are joining. Before we start with the technology, with 30 minutes of technology for today, I would like to have a look at a product which has been in our portfolio for many years, and which is very special because it often is the first thing which a user sees when using a machine. And these are our customer-specific panels. So we are manufacturing these panels out of a milled aluminum block, and you as a customer can customize them with, for example, colors, with push buttons, with certain extensions, with a certain format. So this is standing upwards. So there's all sorts of possibilities to really make the design of the display of your machine customized and fitting into the corporate design of the company, because automation is always also a little bit emotional, and I think this gives a pretty nice face to a machine. Now we are continuing with technology. Roland is already standing at the MX forum. Afterwards we will look at intrinsically safe modules. We will have a discussion with the press. We will talk about the future, about safety and TwinCAT. So please stay tuned. We are looking forward. Thank you.
And first of all, I would like to greet back to Malaysia. Good afternoon and good to have you. And then I would like to recap a bit the last 2 days, because we got some questions the last 2 days about our MX system. And some of you would like to get some more concrete information. That's why we shifted our information a little bit to answer the questions of the last 2 days. And basically it's about the functionality of the control cabinet. And the key question for most of you is actually, do we really have all the functions planned or available for the MX system? And I got Frederick here next to me. So how is the situation? Is everything realized in the MX system, or is something missing?
No, nothing is missing. Everything is realized. We not only claim, but we live up to the claim that we replace the complete control cabinet with one MX system.
So all functions will be available?
Every functionality is available.
Okay, but if I take a particular look into the cabinet, I see the terminal blocks.
Yes.
And I used a lot of terminal blocks in my life. So where are the terminal blocks?
No, that one you don't need anymore. So all the terminal blocks are vanishing because the modules are connected in the base plate, and all the connections are made in the base plate, and no need for any terminal blocks anymore.
So then if I listen carefully, it's about all functions are there, but we don't need all components anymore.
Yes, all function, but less space, less paper, less time.
Okay, less time is a very good second question, because this came also up yesterday. How much time does it really need to build such a system? So I got Marvin here with me. You just started to set something up.
Yeah.
What have you done so far?
So in the last couple minutes, while we were setting up all the cameras, I already mounted the PC for the EtherKit master and the in-feed module, where we have basically the in-feed, the main switch, and we got all the fuses. And I also mounted a 2-axis servo drive. Okay. And for just mounting them on the base plate, I can show it to you by just grabbing one of these compact servo drives. You can just plug it in, step number 1. Yeah. And step number 2 is just taking a screwdriver and tighten all the screws. And that's basically it. And all the single cable wiring is done by the backplane and the base plate. Mm-hmm. And there's no single wire laboring or something like that that you are familiar with in the classical control cabinet. It's all way more simple here.
So what do you guess? How long would it take to get all this assembled then?
I think this one takes about an hour. And compared to the regular one, it's 24 hours, up to 30 hours with all the testing. Yeah.
I remember in my days, we always had these wiring diagrams. So there was a big bunch of paper we go through. I know you have prepared something for today. So how will this change with the MX system?
So if we take a look into this both documentations, the bigger one, I can show it into the camera, is for the conventional control cabinet.
So the bigger one is for this cabinet?
Right.
Okay.
And the smaller one is only the documentation for the MX system. So it's way less paper.
I think this is an obvious visible sign. So how long would it take to make the cabinet then compared to this 1 hour with this system?
Yeah, so if you consider that you have to work on it manually, you have to plug in all the modules, then wire everything, test it, so that takes around 24 to 30 hours.
Okay.
And this doesn't have to be done with this MX system, so only 1 hour and you're good to go.
Well, this is a significant optimization, excellent. But I also noticed, and some customer asked me, that normally the cabinet is what I say portrait mode, because I'm the panel guy, but our system, Friedrich, is more landscape, right? So how can we fix this?
And that landscape version.
So what do customers do who need a more portrait mode?
Well, I've got something.
Here we are, okay, sorry.
There's another vertical solution as well. So if your space is more or less slim and upright, there is a solution you can use there as well.
But that means all the functions of the backplane is also available in this form factor,
Yes,
basically.
Exactly. It's an MX system. It's just not landscape, but portrait.
Okay. Well, I hope you identify the ease of the system and how you can put it together. Now, let's walk over a little bit, because I've seen Mr. Roland Heinze over there. Good morning, Ronald. Good to have you here. Welcome. And you need to know that Ronald Heinze works for the VDE publishing company as the chief editor, and inside this organization already in 1880. This is 140 years ago. The first technical magazine was published. It was not your job these days, but you are with the company a long time, and you are an expert in the field of automation, because as an independent press, you monitor the trade shows, you monitor the companies, and you are basically on the pulse of time what's going on in the industry. Now, this is day 3 of the trade show. So what trends do you see happen here in Hannover?
At first, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you and to answer your questions, Roland. Hannover Fair offers endless possibilities of improving plants and machines. 2,500 exhibitors present their solutions and products to their customers and visitors. And in my opinion, most important technology trends are digital twins, IoT ecosystems, and cobots.
Okay.
And now it's interesting to see like these technology trends can transform to sustainable business models. Further, it's interesting to see like digitization helps to realize the decarbonization.
Okay. I believe that you are in touch with many customers who are exhibiting here, so you get not only technology information, but also global company information and other things. So maybe you can answer also one question, and it's about the personnel, the staff, and the recruiting. So are there also trends if customers or if companies need qualified staff and personnel? Are there also specific trends how you can be attractive for people to work?
Well, I think today it's not just about money and career. Companies looking for employees have to have a specific purpose. Of course, sustainability plays an important role today here. Other important characteristics are digitization and transparency and circular value creation or circular economy. If a strong brand is then added to this, the employee search should be successful.
Okay, I think this is a clear message, and your expertise after talking to so many companies. Now let me do some fishing for compliments at the end of our little session here, because I noticed that you visited our press conference yesterday. There were around 40 national, international journalists listening to the business year and the technology developments. Now, if you just rethink about this, do you believe that Beckhoff is still playing a major role in the automation, or where are we positioned?
At first, it was an amazing press conference. We heard a lot about new products and innovations, especially concerning to your MX system and XDS. In my opinion, the Beckhoff company ranks among the most important innovators of the automation community. I think I can claim that with a clean conscience. since I've been writing and publishing about the company and its products and solutions for more than 29 years now. And since Beckhoff repeatedly surprises with disruptive innovations, you can find an exclusive interview with your CEO, Hans Beckhoff, in our Open Automation Journal every year. Let me add a quote of Hans.
Yeah.
Hans said, engineers have to save the world. And I'm sure that your company makes an important contribution to this.
Well, thanks for your statement, Ronald. You mentioned the word technology development, so maybe we go over to our I/O department and take a look to improvements. Thank you, Ronald. Okay, let me find the way over here. Now we're in our I/O forum, and it's a pleasure to welcome Benjamin with me. And Benjamin is the man in blue, to say it this way. It's not Blue Man Group, which is playing a performance in Berlin, but it's about blue terminals, and it's about the explosion-proof market.
Right.
Now, you got something new with you, Benny. So what is that?
Yeah. Maybe I can explain you what is the current status to explain what's new. So
That's a good idea.
if you want to include signals out of zone 0 into our standard IP20.
Okay, 1 second. I got just a message. I need the hand mic, please. Okay, you need to use this one, please.
Sorry. So let's start again.
Benjamin just started to explain how the actual solution is and where the future solution is. So let's go back to the small cabinet.
The current solution is if you want to integrate sensors or actuators out of zone 0 into our IP20 toolbox, you would require a nice IPC, CX, whatever, connect your standard terminals, and then you start with what we call ELX, intrinsic safe power supply.
But you always need a special cabinet, correct?
You always need a special cabinet, and then you connect the signal terminals next to it, and obviously that puts some extra effort. So now we combined the functionality of those modules into one box within our well-known EP boxes. So a form factor that is robust and proof that it's working in tough and hazardous requirements. Now we integrated all the functionality of the ELX modules within those boxes to connect directly to zone 0 and 20.
But in this case, you connect it to a standard box. And I remember that you always need a barrier for the terminals.
Right.
Where's the barrier now?
Barrier is now inside the box, so you can just connect with standard 24 volts and standard EtherCAT down to zone 222. And now we have the galvanic isolation and the barriers built in the boxes to directly connect the field devices.
Yeah, that's extremely simple. So the key question then is, if it's so simple, easy to understand, where is the key market and what is the key benefit for it?
Right. There are several applications. So one could be if you really need a compact solution that you want to have mounted decentralized, then it's the right thing to go for EPX. ELX obviously is a really modular and flexible solution, but especially if you only want to integrate a few single IOs that are blue, that's the better way to go for.
Well, that's a clear and easy statement. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Now, the glue for all our products is obviously TwinCAT as the key software who incorporates all the functions. And it's a good way now to jump over to Felix to the TwinCAT department.
Before we dive into TwinCAT, we would like to send out some greetings. And I must say, I'm always very much amazed how colorful the audience of these events is, because we have people tuning in from Vietnam, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from Portugal, from Iran, from Piteå in Sweden. In Sweden, I think that's one of the most northern towns in Sweden, from Morocco and from Nigeria. So I think that's very, very amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. We are very, very pleased to have you. Next to my side is Josef, and Josef yesterday had a discussion with a customer who asked about delivery times, and Josef said, how many kilograms of TwinCAT do you want?
Yeah.
So very, very easy.
So no problem for us to produce software in these hard times for the hardware guys. And of course we are also working on new versions. So end of the year, in the first quarter of this year, we will have a new version, 4026. And this is including a lot of new features, of course. But we also change a little bit the philosophy of doing the setup. So it's not one monolithic block. It's a lot of different packages, and it's easy to update packages in the field on the runtime side, but also on the engineering side. And beside this, of course, we have the user mode runtime. We talked about this. And we have a lot of new features also in the PLC. And maybe you can ask Bela for one of the new features in the PLC, which is called Profiler.
Yeah, but maybe just a short recap, because really at Beckhoff we always try to put everything into modules to make things more interchangeable, and I think this is something which will be later very interesting for us. Bela, Profiler, what is this? I don't think this has anything to do with crime, right?
No, it has not. So first of all, I think it's going to be a very important tool in the future. So we are going to start with adding this feature in build 4026. And it's possible to easily measure the runtime performance of your PLC code. And it enables you to easily also detect time-consuming programming, inefficient programming. So it's going to be very easy in the future to optimize your PLC code and keep the quality of the PLC code as high as possible.
Okay. I think PLC code quality, this is a perfect transition to our next guest, because
Absolutely.
now we have somebody with us who is not a Beckhoff colleague, who is not with the press, and I think also not a customer of ours. Jacob Zagatowski is with me. Jacob, can you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you are doing?
So my name is Jacob. I'm a software engineer and I'm working primarily with helping customers with automation projects. But I'm also running on my free time, I'm running some online education for TwinCAT. So I have a blog and a YouTube channel where I publish just learning material basically for TwinCAT.
Okay. More than 60,000 people are watching your videos, and I think they will also be interested in the profiler and how to improve the code. I think that's something very important for people who are new to the technology. There are many vendors on this exhibition, so Siemens is there and other companies are there as well. They also have software solutions for programming machines. Why did you start with Beckhoff?
Well, it was actually a complete coincidence. It was just an ad that showed up on a job and they wanted someone with using TwinCAT. I had never heard about TwinCAT, so I started working with it and I realized that it's actually quite close to working in the traditional way I've been developing software. So a lot of the practices I was used to with working with software I could apply on TwinCAT. And then the reason I stayed and continued working with it was just because it was so extremely fun and the projects just got bigger and more expensive. The machines got bigger and more expensive, and I really enjoyed it because I really got close to the metal and really work with the machines, which I couldn't do in the traditional software field. So yeah.
So coming from the classical C, C++ programming maybe as an informatics engineer, and now transitioning really into the hard world of the machine building, or you've already transitioned, so because you have been doing this for a couple of time now. I think that's a little bit unique also, because usually machine builders are getting involved with our technology, but it's, I think, a very, very nice indicator for the concepts which we have, so that we take trends from the IT industry and transfer it to the automation industry, not to the automotive industry. Josef talked briefly about the modularization of TwinCAT and also about the user mode runtime. What's your take on these features? What do they bring you?
So the modularization is extremely important, because I think when I've been working with projects, one of the challenges I've had is kind of like to rebuild the whole configuration for a machine. And that has been a little cumbersome. There's been some problems with managing the versions. And I think with the package manager, the new one, if it is anything like the package managers in the Linux world, so like apt, for example, then I think this will improve the handling of machines in a great way. So that's one thing. And the user mode runtime is, I think, even more important, because the most common question I get on my blog, at least one of the most common questions, is for new people that are coming in and just want to get TwinCAT up and running. They want to do a little bit of development, they want to test it, get a feeling for TwinCAT. Then you have to do all these configurations to get the real-time properties of a machine. And you don't care about this when you're just testing it out. So with the user mode runtime, you can run it just as a process in the operating system. It will be much easier to run, which is great. Another thing is just, more and more companies are adapting modern software development practices, and then they're building up this continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines. And several companies I've been worked with, they are doing something called unit testing. So and for this you need to run a framework in the kernel right now. And with the user mode runtime, you will be able to run this anywhere in the cloud, because you can run it just as a standard application. And you don't need the real-time performance. This is not important. So this is really great. And I also want to mention the third thing, and the third thing is the dark mode that you're going to introduce in the next version of TwinCAT.
It's always about design, just with the panels.
Yeah, but it saves the eyes.
Yeah, but extremely interesting, because this is also a trend which is new to the automation industry, because machine builders are a little bit hesitant to say, okay, I changed the code of a running machine, and with these continuous improvement and continuous development approaches, this is changing, and you actually change the code of a machine to improve it. So I think that's a very interesting thing to look at, and we will see how this will develop in the future. last but not least, you joined us here on the fair. Thank you very much for it. You get one wish for the next TwinCAT release. What will it be? Just one.
Just one. Okay. If it's one, then I want you to change the source code format. So from the structured text source code format, don't store it with the XML markup.
Okay.
Remove that and just store it as plain text.
Okay. Josef has listened. Roland is standing over there. I'm not sure what he is up to.
Well, I just got a message out of the back office that we have people listening from Poland, from Bangladesh, from Slovenia, from Italy, from Sweden, Great Britain, China, Portugal, Germany, Brazil, Iran, Vietnam, Morocco, Tunisia, Nigeria, Jordan, Spain, Turkey. Thanks for joining us, and back to Felix and TwinSafe.
Thank you very much, Roland. TwinCAT and software are for sure important. We have talked a lot about other technologies this week, such as motion technology, and you cannot really use it without making sure that it's safe for people to use it, and that's where you come into play.
You can use it, but you shouldn't use it.
Yeah, okay.
A few years ago, there was a huge development within the drive department. So we got a new generation of drives, the AX8000, and that's where we took the first step of integrating our safety controller. So each AX8000 can also be a safety controller. So beforehand we had the AX5000 with the STO functionality and our option card for safe limited speed. But now with the AX8000 you can and you should implement your own safety functions for the drive. And in order to simplify that for our customers, we implemented a TwinSafe motion wizard. So you get a step-by-step wizard for doing your safety drive applications.
So drive module really becomes safety controller, just to get it right, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. With this technology, classical rotary motors with a decentral drive, or with a central drive, which is in the control cabinet, this is one part, but we are also continuously introducing motors with integrated power electronics. Can we put the same PCBs into these ones and integrate the safety functionalities there as well?
It's not exactly the same PCB, but
form factor.
yeah, but the AMI and AMP are basically completely the same like the AX8000 from the safety point of view.
Yeah.
So you have an integrated safety controller, you have an integrated encoder if the motor has one, and you can realize with the same tooling and the same diagnostic tools, you can do all the same safety applications with the AMP and AMI.
Thank you very much, Martin. Martin is taking care of our yellow products, and if you want Martin to stand here next to you in a yellow suit, then maybe you can bribe him with whatever you can. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Now I have to transition to Frederike, who is standing in the middle of the central way of our booth. So it's quite crowded. We will see how this will turn out. Frederike, we started the week with with Heiko talking about the 20-year anniversary of our embedded PC family. 10 years XTS is this year as well. We didn't celebrate this. 6-month MX system, but there's also one other big jubilee which we want to celebrate, 42 years of Beckhoff. Why this strange number and how it's going to be?
That's correct. So yeah, 2 years ago, we were actually looking forward to celebrate the 40th birthday of our company, but due to the pandemic, that wasn't possible. So now we decided 42, right, is the answer to all the questions as we know. Yeah. So let's do it. And then in August, as you know, there will be this great party. Well, it's not a public one, I have to admit, but for all our colleagues from Germany, from all over the world. So I'm really looking forward to it. Good music, awesome food, an open air festival almost. And I think it's time that we meet again, not only to work and have fun, but also to celebrate and have fun.
Okay. I will not ask you about the live music act because you have been keeping quiet on this for the last half a year. But you are now working on the organization of this big party, but you are also involved with, I would call it, the big infrastructure projects of our company. We are 5,150 people as of today, and the trend is going to be upwards. What other challenges and what other projects do you see?
Yeah, that's totally true. So we had 100 of people joining last year. We even hired already 200 to 300 this year. So it's getting really in a clear direction. And this is something where we need to really focus on, because if we want to continue to grow, it needs to be healthy, it needs to be stable. And for all of this, the infrastructure behind it must grow. So it starts with our basic IT infrastructure for you, for me, for every colleague, right? But we also need working places, we need production facilities, we need so much more. We need to make sure, for example, that the young generation, and the two of us, I just maybe I add us to the young generation.
Thank you.
Right? We need to learn from the, let's say, more older generation, because there will be a part in the future where they leave the company, and we need to secure all what they know. So these are just brief and really general topics, but it goes really into depth, and this is the thing I and a lot of other people focusing on, to make sure that the infrastructure is there to grow and to be able to grow.
I just talked with Josef a couple of minutes ago, and he actually told Husky, one of our most established customers, I would say, I think more than 20, 25 years they've been with Beckhoff, doing injection molding machines. And he told them that software is available in kilograms, so no issues with delivery time there. And Josef has been taking care of Husky and being in contact with them for a very, very long time. And he's basically their counterpart in discussing what happens with the next machine generation. And I think this is true for many, many other colleagues which are within Beckhoff and which help their customers to know everything about the automation markets and to select the exact right technologies which they need to make their machines very, very good.
Yeah.
Now in the booth we have many, many products, and the company is growing. More people means more products.
Yep.
How can we actually help our customers in future to make sure that they know the latest, greatest trends, that they are aware of everything what's happening in the automation market?
Yeah, that's a really important point. I think it's even Husky where the, for me, famous quote is from keeping the customers in the lead. So this is something we need to focus on. And as you said, this needs to be done by our sales force. And our sales force, of course, they consist of the salespeople itself, but especially also of the technical people. So the support engineers, the application engineers. And whenever we're inventing something new, which we bring from the HQ to all the subsidiaries, to our local colleagues who are then taking care of the customers, I think sometimes they're a bit overwhelmed by simply the dimensions, and also it's just a lot of know-how you need to have in mind. And I think it is really important that we still going to expand the experts we have in our subsidiaries and in the local offices everywhere, because they are the ones who really then in the end transfer our know-how to the customer. And it's quite challenging, but we know that, and we are working on it, to transfer all the know-how we have in FAIL, especially in our development and product management departments, to bring it to our colleagues, so they are able to provide the best support from a sales and also technological point of view to the customers. I think we're doing it quite good, but we still can improve there, and that's what we're focusing on with different ideas, tools we have in mind.
Yeah. We would very much be like to take part, because usually I'm trying to take care of the Explanar and not doing the moderation all the time. And that's actually very true for us as well. So we need to make people aware of what it is, how it works. So this is actually a big challenge. I cannot agree more on that.
Yeah.
You just said very nicely that we too are part of the younger generation within Beckhoff. So maybe it's a question which is very interesting for our customers. So the company is developing, the world is at change, a lot of things happen in the world. How do you look at Beckhoff in 20 years from now? Or maybe 25, you can select.
Wow, 20 years. I'm turning 30 this year, so adding up more 20 years, it's like I'm turning 50. That's quite in the future, but still I think there's a special vision I share, my dad shares, and also my brother shares. And first of all, this is really important for me, for you, for all you out there, that it's definitely our aim to still be a family-owned company, because this is, I think, one of the core reasons why we are who we are today. And this is something, luckily, the three of us can decide, and we are definitely going to decide to keep it this way. So this is the first point, being family-owned in 20 years. Then to be in this high-tech, innovative company, that's at least, I would count that we are one of those in the market. And this is important, of course, for you, our customers, but also for you, for example, because this is what makes you happy, what brings you to work every day, to develop and think about technology which brings customer forward, but also simply help our world, right? We have so many challenges to overcome, and automation technology helps to go in this way. And then, simply to keep the family spirit of our company, the work culture, the working environment, I think this is important. We work hard, but we also have a lot of fun. And summarizing all this, again, it's really general, but there lies a lot of truth in it, I think.
Thank you very much for that statement. I think that's very important, because if you select a vendor for a PC which controls your machine, or maybe for a motion system like XTS or Explanar, you are completely changing over many things in your machine, many things in your company. You need to do training for it. You need to really trust the company, and I think it's very important that people out there know that Beckhoff will be something when you can count on in 20, 25, 30, 35 years, when we are retiring. Not that we are looking
Let's
forward
see
to
if that
all.
ever will happen.
Last but not least, before we end, I would give you the chance for a small rebellion. So your dad always says engineers need to save the world.
Yeah.
Both of us are not 100% engineers. So what's your take on that?
Well, I don't know. Is my dad somewhere here?
He hasn't been seen. Oh, he's sitting over there, so we are safe.
So starting the rebellion. No, of course, engineers should save the world. They are supposed to. But me, I studied economics. I think that I'm a good support maybe for the engineers to save the
I
world.
would agree on that.
But as you know, I can't say anything else because when I was 6-year-old, I get my first kit from my dad where I could start, develop some hardware, etc. So, of course, engineers will save the world.
Okay, I guess you have been framed early in your childhood. Thank you very much for joining us
Thank you,
today.
pleasure. Have a good day.
Have a good day, and please visit us. It's crowded. People are coming back to fairs. And with this, back to Roland to say goodbye to you for the day.
And Felix was polite enough not to ask me what I would do in 20 years, but I will tell you, I will be retiring and I would sit at home with a nice glass of wine watching Live and Interactive. There's an open question in the chat channel. It's about a possible module, a frequency converter module in our MX system. And yes, this is also planned in different scales and different power classes. So yes, we're also going to develop frequency converters. Now, tomorrow it's all about IPCs. We also talk about motion technology. We will take a look into our explainer system and some software issues. So there are a lot of things going on tomorrow. And I really hope that you will be also part of it tomorrow. It was a pleasure to be your host together with Felix today. Many thanks for joining us around the globe. Have a wonderful evening, night, morning, whatever you do. And I'm happy that you're joining us. Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow.